Now, I've used monk mode for almost half a decade whenever I needed to push myself to accomplish goals larger than life. And it's really allowed me to control my dopamine, stay focused, and also make tens of millions of dollars in the process. But what is monk mode? Monk mode would be the equivalent of Bruce Wayne escaping Gotham and leaving behind all the noise, all the gossip, all the chatter, all the distractions. Disappearing into the mountains allowed him to be completely immersed in his own world. Monk mode is going to do the same for you. Now, in your case, the noise might be weed, women, alcohol, porn, video games, and you're gonna cut out all that crap for the next 90 days, and you're gonna replace them with 3 healthy non-negotiables. And when I say non-negotiables, I mean non-negotiables. I don't care if you're tired, I don't care if you're sad, I don't care if you're sleepy, if it's raining, if the markets are crashing, if the sky is falling, if your girlfriend just broke up with you, you're gonna get it done, no matter what. This is the level of discipline that I'm expecting from you. Now, the basic non-negotiables are 30 minutes of exercise, 15 minutes of meditation, and no alcohol or weed. And I also recommend that you add some personalized non-negotiables on top of that, but you should have no more than 6 total. Now, I've helped tens of thousands of people do monk mode, and we've noticed that after 6, there was a dramatic drop off in consistency. So keep it simple, between 3 to 6 non-negotiables. Now I want you to remember the last time you went to the barber's and left with a 10 out of 10 trim, hair on point, beard on point. And if you're a man, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. You walked out there feeling like $1 million, smiling at strangers, invincible, ready to conquer the world. I mean, running unnecessary errands just so people could see you. I mean, listen, we're all guilty of this. The point is, your confidence was at this all-time high because you knew without a doubt that you looked good. And what's the logical byproduct of that? Feeling good. And when you feel good, you do more, you accomplish more, you're unstoppable. Conversely, when you don't know how to dress and you don't look good, you feel insecure, which hurts every area of your life, including your productivity, your focus, and your work. Now, let's be honest. Most guys have no idea how to dress, and you can learn it yourself by looking on YouTube. Honestly, learning how to dress is just don't get anything too ski, don't get anything too baggy, and just keep it simple. Blacks, neutral tones, and especially for men, just keep it very, very simple. But if you want to speed up that process, I actually created 19 Netflix style classes from my own personal tailor, Jack Winslade, and I put that inside of Digital Launchpad, which is our e-learning mobile app. You can find it on App Store, you can find it on Google Play Store, or just easiest search it up on Google. It's $37 and tens of thousands of people are subscribed to it, but I digress. I just wanted to make it clear you have that option. But honestly, even just YouTube alone, you can find whatever fits your best current situation. But for now, what I want you to take away from this rule is simple. Improving your style will have a drastic impact on your motivation, work, and productivity during this period in your life. It'll help you feel good every single day, which will translate to more output and confidence in your day-to-day life. So now that you know that style is a factor that can help you come back unrecognizable 90 days from now, let's move on to the next rule. Committing to a physical event will keep you accountable during the inevitable days where you have zero inner motivation to keep going. When Bruce Wayne left, his commitment was to put an end to crime in Gotham City. And in the cold days in the mountains, that's precisely what kept him going. Even when he was bruised, beaten, humiliated, fatigued, the commitment he made was the string holding him together when he was in pieces from the unspeakably hard training that he was going through. Now, what I want you to do is to apply that same concept in your life. And here's the thing, it must be a physical event. A marathon, a high rocks, your first boxing fight, it needs to be something tangible, real, concrete. Why? Because you can't pretend to finish a marathon. You can't pretend you won a sparring session. You can't pretend that you finished a high rocks. So you either did it or you didn't. And this will help you internalize a very important lesson as well. Results are rooted in reality and not your own perception. In life, you either put in the work and did it, or you didn't. And this mindset rewiring alone is powerful enough to change your life forever. And I've used this countless times. I remember when I ran my first marathon at the end of 2020 after probably the most difficult year of my life. And I did it on 2 weeks notice. And I'd never run more than 7 kilometers in my life. And I said, in 2 weeks, I'm gonna run a marathon. And I ran my first marathon in 3 hours, is 3 hour 42 2 minutes or 3 hour 45 minutes with no experience. And honestly, while I ran, I wasn't the best prepared or I wasn't the best trained. I mean, I had 2 weeks to prepare. I had to prove to myself, how strong am I? And that is why I set that challenge for myself. So it doesn't need to be a marathon. It could be your first boxing match. It could be whatever physical challenge you want to set. The point is, you need to prove to yourself just how strong you are. Now, IPA is just short for income producing activities. You remember the example I just gave about coming out of the barbershop with a fresh trim? There's a feeling that's very close to it when a fat paycheck hits your account. You can't help but feel like a winner, because as a man, a lot of your self-worth is tied up to making money. And whether you want to debate me and whether that's right or wrong, I'm just telling you that's the case. You can disagree with it philosophically, but it's impossible to deny that it's real. And the fact that it has such a quick and drastic impact on your mood is all the proof that you need. But even though it's a powerful enough reason to focus on IPAs, it's not the main one. A lack of money is like a toxic mold that grows and destroys everything in your life you're trying to do. You can't train properly thinking about rent. You can't sleep properly with thousands in debt to pay off. You will never achieve your full potential as a man if you have money anxiety breathing down your neck all the time. And the solution is simple. Learn a skill that you can sell online, whether that be copywriting, video editing, web design, sales, automations, data analysis. There are tons, and you can learn them on YouTube or Reddit or forums, whatever. But that's also why I put together my e-learning platform, Digital Launchpad, because we teach all of those. I bring in the best experts in the world and spend millions of dollars to bring them onto a platform to teach you these things. And since you're gonna do monk mode, you might as well try it, because inside DL, you can not only learn IPAs, but also track your monk mode progress at the same time. So it kind of works as this all-in-one hub. Now, with that being said, once you learn a skill, you need to learn how to get clients. And this is actually called skill stacking. Then, once you know how to get clients, you're gonna be making anywhere from an extra few thousand a month all the way to multiple 6 figures. And in doing so, you would have successfully removed the biggest bottleneck in your pursuit to becoming the superhero version of yourself. And all you have to do is look at Bruce Wayne again. Had he not been extremely wealthy, he wouldn't have been able to pour enough resources to build his suit, his cave, to create his car, and to fulfill his purpose of becoming Batman. So my friend, whether you like it or not, you're gonna need money. So focus on your IPAs. Now, I'm not gonna tell you that it's good to focus on education, because you already know this. What I wanna do is explain why you should focus on education. And it's simple. Most people think that multimillionaires are geniuses or they're simply talented. They think, oh, well, he's just gifted. But let's be honest here. Do you really think I'm some 150 IQ genius? If you do, let me tell you, I most definitely am not. The only difference between us is I know how to make millions of dollars and you don't. I mean, think about it. If you knew how to make $1 million right now, wouldn't you? Yeah, of course you would, but you don't, because you've been chalking it all down to he's just this and that and making excuses all of your life, when in reality, the only difference between high earners and you is knowledge. They are simply more well-versed on certain topics than you are, and there's nothing else to it. That is it. Earning differences are learning differences. Stop thinking that people are special. They are not. They just know something that you don't. So focus on education and you'll be able to make leaps in a month that would take an average person years. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have known my story. I mean, I've been uploading on YouTube for almost 10 years now. Some of you guys have been following me a long time. But if you know my story, it's very common. Grew up with a single mom. My dad, my biological father, was an alcoholic. My grandparents raised me until I was 4 years old, because my mom was young. She was 23. She was working 3 jobs to support us. And then eventually my mom marries my stepdad. Things were amazing. Things were great until I was 11 years old. He cut us off. And my mom basically went back to the same position she was in Russia, which is working day-to-day normal jobs. Now listen, she always kept a brave face, but I could tell the financial burden was weighing heavy on her. Now, it's one thing to suffer yourself. I don't mind suffering at all. Give it all to me. I love it. But seeing a loved one suffer, for me, is just, it breaks my heart. So I promised her something. I said, I'm gonna get us out of the situation we're in no matter what. I'm gonna become wealthy or I'm gonna die in the process. And now she lives in a $4 million house, bought cash, with a Range Rover parked in front of it. And it's funny, I actually sent her a text a couple months back, and I texted her and I promised her I will buy you the house that you want and there'll be a Range Rover parked in front of it. And 10 years later, exactly that happened. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because my story growing up is very common. We all go through financial struggles. Listen, it's not like I was eating out of trash cans or homeless, but just seeing my mom and the burden of having to worry and stress about money every single day for the both of us, that was enough to light a fire under my ass, because you need to understand that as human beings, we are far more willing to do things for others than ourselves. Listen, despite all of our flaws, this is something undeniably beautiful that lives inside of us. And you can actually leverage that biological hardwiring to win at life. This, plus committing to a physical event, are the anchors that will ensure that you will stay consistent no matter what during this period. And I looked so crazy at the age of 14 telling my mom that, listen mom, don't worry, I'm gonna buy you your dream house, there's gonna be a Range Rover parked in front of it, you're gonna have this, blah, blah, all this stuff, until a decade later. And I did every single fucking thing I said I would. So make a promise to a loved one. And the thing is, they might not believe you. I love my mom to bits, but did she think I was gonna be able to buy her a multi-million-dollar house at the age that I did? No, probably not. But it doesn't matter. Me just making that promise to her was enough. I made a promise to her and I was not gonna let her down. So that's why you need to go make a promise to your loved one. Now, do you know what's the most powerful skill in the entire world, bar none? It's communication. Good articulated speech can win wars, build empires, close billion-dollar deals. It's something you use every day of your life, but most people never think to develop it. They think that you're either born a good communicator or you're not. But let me tell you something, and anyone who's become an excellent communicator can vouch for this. It's all practice. I mean, go look back at my YouTube videos 8 or 9 years ago and you can see it for yourself. I used to stutter, get lost in my train of thought, go on tangents. I used to speak fast with no pause, use and ah and filler words left, right, and center. It was an absolute mess, but you know what happened when I started working on this? My thoughts became clearer. My life became more organized. My businesses started growing faster because your communication is a mirror of your thoughts. If you organize your speech, your mind becomes organized, and that trickles down to every single area of your life. So sure, practicing your speech and your writing will make people understand you better, but that's actually the least of its benefits. The biggest benefits will be that everything in your life will become clear. Your goals, your tasks that you have to do, how you approach them, how you tackle situations, and so on. That is the real benefit of improving your communication skills that nobody actually talks about. So listen, my friend, if you follow the rules I laid down in this video, I promise you that you will change so much that not even your family will recognize you, let alone your friends or the people you know in your city. You will develop a spark in your eye, a magnetism. Others will be drawn to you and they won't even know why. People will start taking you seriously, and most importantly, you will start taking you seriously. And I'm telling you this from firsthand experience. Every single rule mentioned in this video, I followed myself, and it worked too well. The goals that I used to set as the ceiling became the floor. I became a man I never thought I could be. And it was because, just like Bruce Wayne, I willingly went into the mountains and decided not to leave until I became my version of Batman. And now, I want to leave you with a few pointers. The first thing you should do after watching this video is grab a pen and paper and organize how you're going to tackle this challenge, the habits you're going to adopt, the promise you're going to make, the event that you're going to commit to, and everything else I talked about in today's video. Then, I want you to set a date to start and a date to finish it, because this video is not meant to be taken lightly. I'm not making this out of entertainment for you. This is going to require every fiber of strength in your body. So prepare and take it seriously. And once you start, don't look back.